Shalom, shalom, everyone. This is Yaina Yisrael with our Supernatural Saturday class. We'd like to welcome you to our class. We're continuing the lesson from last week, about Japhet and the Gentile reign and Esau. I think this is very important. We're really excited about where this teaching is going. It adds some more information to what we already know. All praises be to the Most High Yah. I just need somebody to tell me if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right, this is our next section. Now, last week we talked about Esau being born and how the Most High said he loved Jacob and he hated Esau, how we have vessels of honor and dishonor, and how it was predestined who he was before he was born. Now we're going to get into something a little bit different. The order of the world rule. I think this is very important because this morning when I was sitting down, I was trying to figure out which way I was going to come, and the Most High dropped something in my mind. The order of the world rule. And when we look at this, this is the Babylonian statue from Daniel chapter 2. This is the statue that Nebuchadnezzar dreamed that he wanted his musicians and sorcerers or whoever they were to tell him what he had dreamed. Well, when you look at the statue, it has the Babylonian Empire first, which was Nebuchadnezzar, and then it had the Medo and Persian Empire, and then it had the Grecian Empire, and then it had the Roman Empire, which was the thighs and the legs. And then when you got down to the feet, it was different. They categorized this as the Holy Roman Empire. This is so very important to what we're talking about today because we're going to link all of this together so that you understand how this order went. And this is what the Most High put in my spirit today. Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japhet. This is very important because after the flood, it was only 8 people that survived. It was only 8 people. It was 4 men and their wives. That's all it was. And these 3 sons were instrumental in populating the earth. We've already established who Ham is. We established that Japhet is the progenitor of the Gentile. This is in Genesis chapter 10. And then we have Shem. Now, I'm going to make a statement that I think is very important for everyone to understand. I'm going to say it real slow. Each one of Noah's sons will have an opportunity to rule the earth. Let's say it again. Each one of Noah's sons is going to have an opportunity to rule the earth, and this is authorized and sanctioned by the Most High Yah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into Ham and Japhet to make you understand that these are either already happened or happening right now. And the reason why I am saying this is because there's nowhere in these 3 sons that Esau's name is mentioned. As the ruler of the world. Any questions before I move into this lesson? All right, let's go. Noah's 3 sons, and then here it is again. Each one of Noah's sons will have an opportunity to rule the earth. Ham, we're going to deal with Ham first. Ham's descendants rule the earth first with a one-world ruling government. Can someone tell me who was the first ruler of the world before Nebuchadnezzar? I didn't already told y'all the answer. Before Nebuchadnezzar's dream.
Nimrod.
Nimrod ruled. And Nimrod was, what color was Nimrod?
Black.
Yeah, black.
Black. He was black. ruled the world. He was first. Before Nebuchadnezzar had his dream, Nimrod was first. Now watch. We're going to go into a little of this. Genesis chapter 10, verse 6. It says, the sons of Ham, now these are Hamites, was Cush and Mizraim and Put and Canaan. And the sons of Cush was Seba, Havilah, Sapta, Ramah, and Sapteca. And the sons of Ramah was Sheba and Dedan. And Cush begot Nimrod, and he began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Most High, wherefore it is said, even as Nimrod the mighty hunter before the Most High. And the beginning of his kingdom was Babel, and Iraq, Akkad, and Calneh in the land of Shinar. This was the beginning. Now, the very first rule of the first kingdom after the flood was through the lineage of Ham from Cush into Nimrod. That's the first world rule. Where it started, black people was first ruling, but they were Hamites. Very important to understand. Is there a difference between the Hamite and the Negro?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely it is. Yes. It's a very big difference between the Hamite and the Negro. And somebody tell me why. What separates the lineage of the Hamite and the Negro?
The Negroes came through Shem.
Two different lineages from Noah's son.
After two different lineages from Noah's sons. Absolutely. The Negroes came from Shem, not Hamite. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is that they want to link us up all together, that we were Hamites, when we really weren't Hamites. We were Negroes, and we came from Shem. Totally different. Okay, so let's keep going. Let me go up here and give a little history of Nimrod. It said, in the post-flood genealogical records of Genesis chapter 10, we note that the sons of Ham were Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. Mizraim became Egyptians. No one is sure where Put went to live, but it is obvious who the Canaanites were. Cush lived in the land of Shinar, which most scholars consider to be Sumner. There developed the first civilization after the flood. The sons of Shem, the Semites, were also mixed to some extent with the Sumerians. Now, that has to be true, because who was our patriarch that lived in the land of Shinar? Who was the main patriarch that lived in the land of Shinar that was called out as the land?
Abraham.
He lived in the land of Ur. Called out of that land because the Most High wanted to take him into the land that was promised. So this is true. The Shemites were mixed in with the Hamites, living under the rule of Nimrod. Watch. We suggest that Sumerian Kish, the first city established in Mesopotamia after the flood, took its name from the man known in the Bible as Cush. The first kingdom established after the flood was Kish, and the name Kish appears often on clay tablets. The early post-flood Sumerian king list not found in the Bible says that kingship descended from heaven to Kish after the flood. Some people would say the kingship descended from heaven. Absolutely it did. Because in order for you to rule on this earth, you have to have the authority from Yah. Have to have his approval and his authority. Because he wrote the story. So it doesn't matter whether you are a Hebrew Israelite or you're a Gentile or you are Hamite or whatever you are. In order for you to do what you need to do to rule in this kingdom, you have to have authority from Yah to be able to do it. Because he is the producer of the story. Watch. And I think that that's a lot of things. That's one of the things that most Israelites coming into or that have been in here for a while don't want to accept, that this story is written by Yah. Nobody is doing anything on their own. Everybody is playing their part. Watch what it says. The Hebrew name Cush much later was moved to present day Ethiopia as migrations took place from Mesopotamia to other places. The Sumerians very early developed a religio-political state which was extremely binding on all who lived in it except for the rulers who were a law unto themselves. This system was to influence the ancient Near East for over 3,000 years. Watch. Other cultures which followed the Sumerian system were Akkad, Babylon, Assyrian, and Persia, which became the basis of Greece and the Roman system of rule. Aren't we under a Babylonian system right now?
Absolutely.
Absolutely we are.
Yes.
Some people call it Mystery Babylon. This is Mystery Babylon. This is in the Bible. It talks about Mystery Babylon. Everything we do has been an example of a Babylonian Roman, Greco-Roman government system. This is what we're under. Watch. Founded by Cush, the Sumerians were very important historically and biblically. There's a picture of that area. This is supposed to be the Ugarit in Iraq to represent Babylon. For you all who can't see the screen, you can go out, come into the internet and come into free conference call and use newcomers class, one word as the ID, and then you should be able to see my screen. Here we go. Nimrod was a very significant man in ancient times, the grandson of Ham and the great-grandson of Noah. Nimrod started his kingdom at Babylon in Genesis 10:10. This is just a little background history. Babylon later reached its zenith under Nebuchadnezzar, 6th century BC. Pictured above are the ruins of Nebuchadnezzar's city with the ancient wall lines and canals in the modern-day Iraq. So Babylon is called today Iraq. And Nimrod took it to its height. Nebuchadnezzar took it to its height. This is what they say. This is one of the pictures that they say Nimrod looked like. Now, I don't want to get into how big he was, but people say he was a giant. They said he was so big that he could hold a lion under his arm like an alley cat. That's how big he was. That he was so large that he couldn't ride a horse because his feet would drag the ground. Now, if anybody's ever been horseback riding, them animals is big. Just showing you some pictures of what some people depict him being. Now, this was a black man coming from the lineage of Ham. It says, after the flood, there was at some point a breakaway from Yah. Only 8 people descended from the ark. Those people worship Yah. And why did those people worship Yah? Whose Elohim does the Bible say that Yah belonged to out of those 3 sons?
Shem.
It was Shem's Elohim. It said Noah worshiped the Elohim of Shem. So this was Shem's Elohim. All of this is important because we got to understand how it all ties together. So when they got off the ark, when the ark landed from the flood, 8 people came off the ark and they all worshiped Yah because this was Shem's Elohim. Shem's Elohim was the one who told Noah to build the ark. Watch, here we go. But at some point, an influential person became opposed to Yah and gathered others to his side. I suggest that Nimrod is the one who did it. Cain had done similar before the flood, founding a new city and a religious system. Now it was Nimrod who excited them to such an affront and the contempt of Yah. He was the grandson of Ham and the son of Noah, a bold man of great strength of hand. He persuaded them not to ascribe to it, Yah, as if it were through his means they were happy, but to believe that it was their own courage which procured that happiness. He also gradually changed the government into a tyranny, seeing no other way of turning men from the fear of Yah, but to bring them into a constant dependence upon his own power. Here is the genealogy of and the nations that came from Ham. If you go at the top, Ham is at the top. You have Mizraim, you have Put, you have Cush, and you have Canaan. If you look down the lineage of Canaan, here is all the ites that the Most High told the children of Israel he was going to run out of the land of Canaan. Here they all are on this side. If you look under Cush, you'll see there's Nimrod, Seba, Havilah, Sabat, Ramah, and Septeka. And then Ramah had Sheba and Dedan. And then here's Egypt, Mizraim. If you look down here, here's all of the nations. And they said the Casluhims became the Philistines. All these people were what color?
Black.
They was black people. All these came from Ham. So when you read about David fighting with the Philistines, these were black people. When you read about the Havites and the Amorites and the Jebusites and all the ites and its and ites, these were black people of color. When you read about Babylon, Iraq, Akkad, Assyria, Canaan, all the Nineveh, these were black people. That's what that was. These was black people. This was black nations. That's what they were. Okay, let's go. The last king to resist. Let me make sure I got this right because I don't want to move too fast. Yep, here we go. Now, they have ruled the earth. Ham was ruling the earth, but there was one king that was opposing the Gentile rule. And this was the last king of the Hamite nation to come against, to try to stop the rule of the Gentile people to have world government, to have world dominance. It was one king that was one leader that was trying to stop it. But I have a question. Could he have stopped it if he wanted to?
No.
Why?
Because the Most High didn't set it up that way.
Yeah, because he didn't set it up that way. But anybody else? Let's go into it. Here we go. Hannibal the Great. Now remember, I told you guys when we were studying before to look at a certain YouTube clip. And for you all who looked at it, he goes into detail about who this man was and how important Hannibal the Great was. But Hannibal the Great was the last African leader from the lineage of Ham to try to stop the Gentile rule from taking world dominance. He was the last one. In other words, he was the one that gave Rome a run for its money. And why do I say Rome? Because when you go through the succession, let me go back up here again. Let me go back. I'm going to go back a little bit. When you go through the succession of the chart that was given in Daniel chapter 2, somebody tell me again how it goes. Who goes first? Who goes second? Who goes third? I'm going to pull it up here so you can see it. Because you got to understand. Here it is right here. The Babylonian Empire is first. Remember, he said, I see a statue. And the head of the statue is gold. And he told Nebuchadnezzar, you are that head of gold. So the Babylonian Empire And the Babylonian Empire was what color people?
Black people.
They was black people. The Medo-Persian Empire was what color people?
Black people as well.
They was black people as well. They was black people as well. They was black people as well. Now, I'm getting ready to mess with you today. The Grecian Empire, what color was those people?
They were Caucasian.
Were they?
Caucasian.
Hey, will you say Caucasian? You say the Greeks was Caucasian people in the beginning?
In the beginning?
Mm-hmm.
They were from Japan, no?
They were black. Etruscans.
First Greeks were black.
Wait a minute, hold on. One person.
That's how.
Go ahead. What'd you say now?
I said, how were they black?
I'm listening. I just want to know. Who said they was black? I want to know.
Black.
Say again?
Black people.
Okay, how?
Black people migrated everywhere.
Okay.
And when you look at the old Greek pictures, the ones that I've seen, it was black people. They were not what you see today.
So could it have been through Japhet, who was black?
Was Japhet black?
He was not black skinned, maybe, but he was the son of Noah.
He was the son of Noah. Let's see. Let's go see. So we know the Babylonian Empire, they was black. Because the reason why I'm going through this is because I heard a Hebrew Israelite teacher, a well-known teacher, say that the whole statue was of the Gentile reign. And I said, absolutely not. The whole statue in Daniel chapter 2 is not of the Gentile reign. So let's go see what's going on. Let's go see what we got going on here. We're going to go back down to where we were. We're going to go back down to...
I got a real quick question. Weren't the Greeks and Romans the same people?
We on our way there, sis. Just hold on a minute.
All right.
They are now.
Okay.
They are now. But let's see what's going on here. Let's go. Hannibal the Great. It says Hannibal Barca was born in 247 BCE as the son of the Empire of Carthage, which encompassed all North America and southern Spain. Hannibal was the son of the great Carthaginian military leader Hamilcar Barca. Watch. Hamilcar led the Carthaginian army in the First Punic War against Rome. Carthage suffered an embarrassing loss to Rome, which included loss of the city of Sicily. Watch. It was widely stated that as a youth, Hannibal's father instilled within him an unrelenting hatred for Rome. When Hannibal was 17, Carthage was able to conquer Hispania, which is now the modern-day Iberian Peninsula. During the conquest, Hamilcar drowned, and Hannibal's brother Hasdrubal the Fair became the commander of the army. This victory was able to expand the Carthaginian Empire, which remained a formidable opponent for Rome. Hasdrubal further strengthened the number of Carthage by intermarrying the Carthaginians with the conquered Iberians. In 221 BC, Hasdrubal was murdered, and Hannibal was elected to assume command of the army at the age of 26. His first campaign was the capturing of the city Salamica in 220 BCE. Carthage's new conquest was of Saguntum, which was a close ally of Rome's. Hannibal's attack on Saguntum was considered to be a violation of a peace treaty signed between Hasdrubal and Rome. They demanded that Carthage expel Hannibal from the empire. Now, this is an African military leader that was ruling North Africa and southern Spain at the time when Rome was moving into being a one-world leader. So this had to be at what part of the statue?
The legs.
This had to be at the legs, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
This had to be at the legs. So if Rome was ruling at the legs, then what color did Greece have to be at the top? Well, hold on. Let me move on. I ain't gonna say nothing. Just hold on. Hold on. Here we go. Now this is Saguntum right here in the chart. This is where this is exactly right here on the chart, because I know somebody gonna ask me, well, where is that at? Hold on. Let me show a better one. This is the actual city that they took over. Now this, if I'm not mistaken, is near Spain somewhere. It says, as Hannibal's fate was being decided, he continued to conquer territories, expanding Carthage as far as he could. Hannibal's brother was appointed as a military commander on the Iberian Peninsula. This move helped the forces of Carthage conquer the peninsula as a whole. Hannibal was determined to bring war to Rome. He remembered what his father told him about the Romans, so he launched the military campaign. Now, this is the black man from the lineage of Ham. He came out of Ham. Still fighting because Ham was first. Oh, listen now. Ham ruled first, and then after Ham, who ruled next?
Great.
That ought to roll off now.
Come on, Jacob.
After Ham, Persia.
No, I'm talking about Ham. I'm talking about Noah's sons. Ham ruled first, and who's next?
Japheth.
Japheth is next. It's only three sons. So if Ham is first, then Japheth is next, and Ham is battling, trying to hold on to position and hold on to power, and he's coming up against Rome because Rome is the people of Rome are descendants of Japheth.
Okay.
This is what this battle is all about. Shem ain't even in the picture nowhere yet. It's between these two brothers. They having this battle. Africa's trying to hold on. Hannibal's father told him, whatever you do, don't let Rome get control. And Hannibal's father told him, whatever you do, don't let Rome take control. And Hannibal is fighting with Rome to keep Rome from being a world-dominated.
Okay.
Watch what's happening. His conquest of the Iberian Peninsula was an example of his advancement towards conquering the Roman Empire. He was trying to keep the Gentiles from taking over. My question is, was he going to be ever able to do that?
No, not at all.
Nope.
No, why was he not going to be able to do that?
It was not ordained for him to keep going.
It wasn't ordained. No matter how much power he had, no matter how he conquered, no matter what he did, it wasn't ordained for him to do that. Why? Somebody tell me why it wasn't ordained.
Because that was not the order the Most High had implemented in the book of Daniel.
That was not the order of the Most High, because after Ham, guess who had to rule? The Gentiles had to rule. Are we still in the Gentile rule today?
Yes, yeah. That's why when you think about it, when the Bible scholars came out and they started putting out the statue, all the pictures that you see, they always have white people that was always in charge, all the way on down to where the feet of the statue is.
Absolutely.
The feet of the statue. So everybody else that is of color around the world, we all think that these white people have always been in rulership, and they have not.
They have not.
They have not.
Have not. They have not. They have not. Because each one, let me say it again, each one of Noah's sons is going to have a chance to rule the earth. Each one of Noah's sons is going to have a chance to rule the earth. And Ham was first. Nimrod started it. Nebuchadnezzar took it. And from there, y'all went to talking to Nebuchadnezzar. Nimrod was evil. Nebuchadnezzar, the Most High called Nebuchadnezzar his servant. And he told him, you are the head of gold. You're going to have a world-ruling kingdom. You're going to rule the earth. And then after you is going to become the Medes and the Persians. And then after you is going to become the Greeks. And then after you is going to become Rome. And then after that is going to be the Holy Roman Empire. He broke down the succession of the world rulers. Oh, this getting good, child. I hope your mind is clicking. Because I was like, oh, yeah, you know you right on point. Like, I already showed you what's going to happen.
I got what you're saying, except that your original question was, what color were the Greeks?
What color
were they?
What color? We gonna get to that. I'm on my way. I'm gonna ask you the question again when I get finished. I'm gonna ask you the question again when I get finished.
Hello.
Because, yes, ma'am. Go ahead. Yes.
So you're saying the world was originally first black, right?
It was ruled by black people. Yes, ma'am.
So there were other Caucasians from the beginning, like during the ancient days, or were they all just black before the infiltration of white skin, like a curse?
No. See, you must have missed last class. Let me tell you why. Because Japhet's sons had the white skin, and that skin came from Noah because Noah was considered to be the color of an albino. According to...
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I remember now. Yes. Okay.
Remember?
All right.
Remember? So
yeah, I remember.
Got their skin from Noah. You know, because a lot of people say the white skin is a curse. No. Japhet's children got their skin from Noah.
Oh, okay. All right. I remember the class. Yes. All right. Thank you.
Their skin is legitimate. All we're saying is that the Most High put in order in Daniel chapter 2 how the world rulers were going to go.
Okay. All right.
Remember, he gave Nebuchadnezzar the dream, and Nebuchadnezzar woke up in a sweat, like, oh my goodness, what was that?
Yeah, I remember. Right. Okay.
And Daniel came in and said, "This is the order. This is what you dreamed, and this is the interpretation thereof."
Okay, because some Israelites are teaching the doctrine that the world was black. So this makes sense, though. Okay. All right. Thanks.
I know they teaching a whole lot of stuff, but the truth of the matter is, according to the book of Enoch, Noah he had the color of an albino. His skin was white with a pinkish rose tone to it. And we broke down how his father thought that his wife had been sleeping with one of the angels because this was the color of the children that came from the fallen angels. And then what did Enoch tell him? He said, no, that's not true. This is of the Most High. This is your son. Watch. So now you talking about, now you have Ham, you have Japhet, and you have Shem. So what we're saying today is Ham started out ruling the world. He started out ruling the world. This is the end of the Hamite rule that we're talking about with Hannibal the Great. This is it. This is where it stops. They're fighting, him and the Gentiles are fighting for control over the world, and Hannibal is trying to hold on to a position that is no longer his. Don't belong to him. Why? Because the order of succession has to take place according to Daniel chapter 2. You can't change what y'all done already put in motion.
May I say something?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, there's something that crossed my mind. So we're talking about Japheth and Ham fighting for dominance. So we know it's the end of the Gentile rule. And now there's going to be a fight between Japheth and Shem. But this also explains why there's such a push and why these people were put in place. The people who are claiming to be us were put in place because that's part of that push to keep them in power because things have been racialized. And so if you can convince folks that those are the people, then that Gentile rule can continue because they are actually saying that they are us. And that will continue that ideology that white is the ruling class. And that it does supposedly switch to a Shemite rule, that it will continue to be white. And so that's the reason why we cannot be acknowledged as the people and why they're in place. So that's a strategic move, too. So when you were talking, I thought, this is part of that battle. We're seeing the battle between Shem and Japheth playing out right now in terms of people failing to acknowledge who we are.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You better believe it. Yes, ma'am. I wasn't even going to go there yet, but you better believe it. Yes, ma'am. And I'm on my way there, trust me. But let me finish Hannibal. Let me finish. So here you go. So this is Iberian Peninsula. I mean, you have, let's see what you got in here. You got Lisbon, you got Portugal, all of this. The Carthaginians had conquered all of this. They had all of this. But you know they couldn't keep it. In order for them to have world rule, and in order for the Romans to have world rule, they had to take all this stuff back. They couldn't keep it. Madrid, all of this stuff. Watch. It says, because Hannibal conquered the Iberian Peninsula, the Roman government declared war against Carthage. This declaration was the beginning of the Second Punic War. Hannibal and his forces invaded Italy in a surprise attack on the Romans, who expected an attack at Sicily. His next move was to cross the Pyrenees Mountains. Before he could cross, his army had to defeat the tribes who dwelled along the foothills of the mountains. There's Pyrenees. Right there. Here's Spain. All this is Spain. You're talking about Sierra Leone, Portugal, Madrid, all this over here. France is over here. Morocco, all of this. They was fighting over this territory. His army crossed the Pyrenees and reached the river Rhone. Along the way, he managed to pacify the chiefs of the Gauls. This strategic move helped to stall Roman advancement against Carthage. Another picture. It was said that Hannibal's army consists of 50,000 infantrymen, 9,000 cavalry, and 37 war elephants. Next, Hannibal led his army across the treacherous Alps, which took a toll on his army. He lost a number of his soldiers and some of his war elephants. The Romans managed to secure a decisive victory against Carthage. Hannibal was not able to capture the port cities of Cumae and Patilio, I forgot how to pronounce that. His army was not able to receive reinforcements or supplies. Portioli, that's how you pronounce it. Puteoli. Carthage was losing resources and allies fast. The cities of Syracuse and Capua were regained by Rome, further weakening Hannibal's forces. The mighty Hannibal was able to instill terror into the Roman Empire. Rome was the world power at the time, and Carthage was a thorn in their side. The size and arrogance of Rome caused them to underestimate the brilliance of Hannibal. He is considered one of the most brilliant military leaders in history. His crossing of the Alps was a feat many may have envisioned but never attempted. Hannibal was determined to keep his promise to his father and annihilate Rome. Though he did not reach his ultimate goal, he accomplished more than any military leader can only dream of. His empire covered North Africa, Spain, and parts of Italy. Hannibal was a true African warrior and a skilled politician. He will never be forgotten within the pages of history. Hannibal was able to show Rome the full potential of his African might. Hannibal Barca the Great, we proudly stand on your shoulders. How many know that he wasn't going to win no way? Couldn't win. He couldn't win.
But you know what? Even though he didn't win, he was actually rewarded because he was immortalized in history for his efforts. And I really love the fact that he honored his father, which is actually like an extension of honoring the father, I think, because we're supposed to honor our parents. So I like that.
He fought to the end, sis. But the truth of the matter is, the statue was going to continue to go anyway.
That's true.
It was going to go the way it was going to go. It had to go the way Yah said it was going to go. And even regardless of how great he was and what he had and he did, he was the last one to withstand against Rome. Because Rome had to have Italy for herself. Had to have it. Rome had to have Italy for itself. Had to have it. Any questions? There's no way around it. Only 3 sons. And each one of those sons is going to have a chance to rule the earth. You got Ham, you got Japheth, and you have Shem. Right now we are under the Gentile rule. The Gentile is ruling. The problem is, though, is that a lot of people don't understand how Esau is ruling and the Gentile is ruling at the same time. That's the problem. The Gentile, Esau, and Rome. Here we go. Here's Japheth's children. Let's go back to Japheth. He got Gomer. He got Magog. He has Madi, Javan, Tubal, Meshish, and Taris. And you have Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, Dodanim, Ashkenaz, Ripha, and Togarmah. All Caucasian people. All Caucasian people. All Caucasian people. All white-skinned people. All white-skinned people. Now, I'm going to ask you a question from last week. What color is Esau's children?
Black.
They were biracial mixed.
They are biracially, well, yeah.
They're black, though.
Well, now, let's say this. Would you say they were biracially mixed or why would you say that, brother, Yerushalayim?
Because at some point, he himself, he was not quite the same color we were. And his children were by black women.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one thing that I'm not so clear about, because I think he took a wife from the Horites, correct?
He took a wife from Ishmael. Even if he took a wife from the Horites, what color was the Horites?
Black.
They were black. They came from Ham.
So the Horites did come from Ham?
All the ites came from Ham.
Because that was one that I was really not so clear about was the Horites. And I'm going to look up their genealogy, but I'm not so sure about the Horites because the Horites dwelled up in Mount Seir. If I'm not mistaken, that's where they got their name from, because when you look up Horite, it means cave dweller. And I don't know, that might have thrown me for a loop, because I'm thinking they had something to do with the Neanderthals.
Well, let's not bring that into there. We'll do a research on that one. Let's do a research on that one. So, okay. If Esau's children were birthed by black women, then they couldn't have been all white people, right?
Right. They were not all white. No.
So you're dealing with Japheth, and Japheth was the progenitor of the Gentile people, which they got their white skin from Noah. So what we're trying to do is see how they connected. What made the connection? Because a lot of people can't understand how the connection came with Esau and Rome. A lot of people can't get it. A lot of people can't get it. And then I'm going to ask this question. When I read this information, I'm going to ask you one more question. Check this out. Listen to this. Kiddo. Oh, boy.
May I make a comment?
Yes, ma'am.
If I remember correctly, didn't Esau's children, he had sons, and his sons were the ones that went out and married women from these other nations?
I'm on my way there. Kiddo. Let's go to Kiddo. Kiddo, let me go back to my chart. You see Kiddo is the son of Japhet, is a descendant of Japhet. Here's Kiddo. Kiddo was a settlement in the present-day Larnaca on the east coast of Cyprus, known in ancient times as Kiton, or in Latin, Citium. On this basis, the whole land became known as Kittim in Hebrew, including the Hebrew Bible. Kittim, translated as Shittim or Citium in the genealogy of Genesis chapter 10 in the Hebrew Bible, is the son of Javan, the grandson of Japhet, and Noah's great-grandson. Now, we're going to go into the book of Joshua. For you all who are new, this book is mentioned in Joshua chapter 10, verse 13, 2 Samuel 1 and 18, and supposedly 2 Timothy 3 and 18. So we're going to go in here. I'm going to give you the reference. That's what the book of Joshua looks like. If you don't have one, I would suggest you get one. You can buy them on Amazon. Joshua chapter 10. This is just a reference of the book of Joshua, so that you know it's in the Bible. And the sun stood still and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book of Joshua? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and hastened not to go down about a whole day. 2 Samuel 1 and 18. Also he bade them teach the children of Yehudah the use of the bow. Behold, it is written in the book of Joshua. So let's go to Joshua chapter 90. Let's see what it says. We're not going to read this whole chapter, but a few verses. Listen very carefully. At that time, the 5th year after the children of Israel had passed over Jordan, after the children of Israel had rested from their war with the Canaanites, these are two black people, these two black nations fighting against each other. At that time, great and severe battles arose between Edom, and the children of Chittim. And the children of Chittim fought against Edom. And Albanus, king of Chittim, went forth in that year, that is the 31st year of his reign, and a great force with him of the mighty men of the children of Chittim, and he went to Seir to fight against the children of Esau. And the children of Esau is called the children of Edom. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yep.
Esau and Edom are the same. Now watch what happens. Here we go. And Hadad, the king of Edom, heard of his report, and he went forth to meet him with a heavy people and strong force, and engaged in battle with him in the field of Edom. And the hand of Chittim prevailed over the children of Esau, and the children of Chittim slew of the children of Esau 22,000 men, and all the children of Esau fled from before them. And the children of Chittim pursued them, and they reached Hadad, king of Edom, who was running before them, and they caught him alive, and brought him to Albanus, king of Chittim. Watch what happens. And Albanus ordered him to be slain, and Hadad, king of Edom, died in the 48th year of his reign. Watch what happens. And the children of Chittim continued their pursuit of Edom, and they smote them with a great slaughter, and Edom became subject to the children of Chittim. What does that mean when it says you become subject?
Slave. Under their rule?
You under their rule. Watch what happens. And the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim and became one kingdom from that day. Now, I can stop right here and go. Let me read it again real slow. And the children of Chittim. Who is Chittim?
Rome.
Rome. So let's say, and the children of Rome ruled over Edom. And Edom became under the hand of the children of Rome and became one kingdom from that day. So when you see Rome, you see who?
Edom.
Esau.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you see Esau, don't you?
Esau. Oh, yeah, Esau, Edom. Esau is Edom.
When you see Rome, you see Esau.
So in other words, they became one people.
They became one people. When you see Rome, you see Esau. Who's going to be ruling in the last kingdom on the statue?
Rome.
Japheth.
Not Rome.
Yeah.
Rome.
Esau, Edom, who was Rome.
They're one kingdom.
Yeah.
So when you see the Holy Roman Empire, you see Esau.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you see Esau, you see the Holy Roman Empire.
Yeah.
And you know that makes a whole lot of sense, because when you read 2nd Ezra, in the 6th chapter, which is for Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of the world.
Yes, sir.
That's interesting. It connects.
Now check it out. Now I'm going to back you up now. I'm going to back you up. You only got 3 sons. So you Ham ruled first, and then Japheth was next. Esau knows he can't come in under Shem because guess what? Israel was chosen by Yah to represent Shem, so it only left he could only hide himself under people that look like him, so he came under who?
Japheth.
He came under Japheth.
And tried to extend his rule.
Oh, he came under Japheth. He came under the Gentile rule. He came in under Rome. And who is ruling the earth today, from the religion to the financial system? Who's ruling it today?
Esau.
Esau, Rome.
Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Rome is ruling it. Who's going to be ruling it at the time when the Most High come back? Rome.
Rome. Yeah.
Who is the fourth beast?
What was that question?
Who is the fourth beast?
Rome.
Rome. So people have a hard time putting two together, but Rome is ruling it, and it is the Gentiles' reign, but Rome is ruling it, and Esau is ruling it through Rome because they became one kingdom. Who rules the church today as we know it?
Rome.
Woo! So if Rome is ruling the church today and Rome is Esau, it stands to reason that they threw everything in it to make sure that Israel never knew who they really were.
Just like Psalms 83 said, they're in it together.
They're in it together. They're in it together. They're in it together. Now, does that mean that all the Gentiles are Rome? It sure don't. But we know Rome is in charge. And Rome and the Gentiles are together in terms of how they do it and how they set it up, because we are under the Gentile rule until the time of the Gentile be what?
Fulfilled.
Fulfilled. Real simple. I was like, wow. He said it's only 3 sons. Each one of them will have a chance to rule the earth. So the only way that Esau could come in it is he had to come in under Rome. He couldn't come as Shem. He couldn't come in under Shem and steal it, because the Most High wasn't going to let him do that.
This also explains why a certain group is so economically supported.
Oh, yeah. And Rome is very rich, sweetheart. Don't ever think that they're not.
Mm-hmm.
They're very wealthy to this day.
But what I'm saying is we have modern day Israel is being supported, but they're being supported because that's an extension of that idea that they are the people and they look like Rome. And so by extension, that extends the rulership of Rome. If you can convince everyone that those are the people,
Absolutely.
then they continue to hide.
Absolutely. And guess what? If you ask people today, where are the Edomites, they will tell you, oh, they don't exist anymore. Oh, yes, they do. This right here says, and the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim and became one kingdom from that day.
So they are masked under Rome.
That's yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see Rome, you see Esau. And when you see Esau, you see Rome. And when you see Rome, you see Esau.
You know, I can understand why the world is going to be thrown into turmoil, because we know that, as you say, the ending the ending of Esau is the beginning of however it goes. When Esau goes down, Shem comes into prominence, right? So if you were expecting, the prophecy has always been that the Most High is going to intervene on the behalf of Israel, and everyone keeps thinking it's that land over in the Middle East. So you have all of these tensions that are building up now. Everybody expects that place to be delivered. If that place is not delivered and those people are not delivered, the whole world will be in chaos, because they'll be impacted. The rulership of the Gentiles will be coming to an end. Esau will be exposed, and then everybody's going to be going, what happened to that God we were thinking about? What happened to those people that were the people who no longer seem to be the people? What is going on? There's going to be a problem.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And who holds the rights to the religious system in the earth?
Rome.
Rome. Rome. They hold the rights to the religious systems in the earth. Rome. Rome is in control. Because that statue is not going to lie. The order of succession is not going to change. And the Most High told Nebuchadnezzar coming in, he said, you first, and then the Medes and the Persians is next, and then the Greeks, and then the Roman Empire, and then when we get down to the feet, we talk about the Holy Roman Empire. I'm just saying.
If I remember correctly, I'm asking this as a question. That statue in Daniel, wasn't it destroyed by a stone?
It was. The stone came out and hit it. Where did the stone hit it at?
Was it at the feet?
The feet.
It hit the feet. So it hit it in the Holy Roman Empire, and the Holy Roman Empire crumbled up. Watch it now. And then a great mountain grew up. And that was the mountain of the Most High, and then Shem took over.
Okay, wow.
So that's where we are. Okay.
And then, Brother Uriah, can you recite again 2nd Ezra? What did it say?
It says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
In the end of the world. That stone going to hit it in the feet. And it's going to crumble. Powerful stuff. I mean, this is how they work together to get it done, and this is how y'all want it to be. It's not going to change. Nobody can change it. It is what it is. And there's been so many arguments among the Israelites. Esau can't be the Gentile, and the Gentile can't be Esau. You're absolutely right, but Esau is wrong. And Rome is ruling it right now as we speak. And everybody's working together to make sure the Israelites never come into the knowledge of who they really are. Y'all done got quiet on me. I'm serious. Woo, yes, ma'am.
What if are the Gentiles? Okay, if Esau is Edom, then there are Gentiles that aren't Esau or Edom, right? Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. It didn't say Edom commingled with all the Gentiles and became one nation. It said Edom was under the rule of the children of Chittim and became one nation that day.
Okay. Yeah.
But guess what? Chittim was what color? What was Chittim in the beginning before Esau mixed?
Chittim. Was that Japheth's children? Were they white?
They were white people. Yes, ma'am. So they mingled with white people. And they came under the rule, and that's how they became a part of the Roman Empire.
Okay.
They became one nation. They started out, Esau started out a totally different nation, a totally different manner of people, red and hairy all over. He married black women and had children, and then those children in turn was captured by Japheth's children and intermingled with white people. And where you have it is the people that are considered themselves to be the Romans today. And guess what? Let me tell you something about Rome. Rome has this. Especially the Holy Roman Empire, it's a country all to itself. It has its own laws, its own flag, its own everything.
And all the presidents have to go there and pay homage to the ruler of Rome, the Pope.
You better believe it. You better believe it. Yes, ma'am. You better believe it. It's all making sense now, and it's like a jigsaw puzzle. It's all coming together, and you be like, oh. He said it's only 3 sons. I was going to go into Zepho and how Zepho, he said you ain't even got to do all that. Show the correlation between the 3 sons, because Noah only had 3 sons, and each one of his sons is going to have a chance to rule the earth. I was like, whoa. I mean, really. This is some serious stuff right here. Some serious stuff.
They're trying desperately to prolong this rulership, but we know that the Most High has got He's already set the whole thing from the beginning on when it's going to end.
He wrote the script. He wrote the script. He wrote the end from the beginning. He wrote the script. He wrote it. But Rome still got to play her part. Rome still got to play her part. Rome still has to do what Rome does. Because we're in the Holy Roman Empire right now. This is the empire that's ruled by Esau and is orchestrated and administrated by the Gentiles. Here we go. Let me go back. I'm going to read 8. We're in Joshua chapter 90, verse 8. And the children of Chittim ruled over Edom, and Edom became under the hand of the children of Chittim, and became one kingdom from that day. And from that time they could no more lift up their heads, and their kingdom became one with the children of Chittim. And Albanus placed officers in Edom, and all the children of Edom became subject and tributary to Albanus, and Albanus turned back to his own land, Chittim. And when he returned, he renewed his government and built for himself a spacious and fortified palace for a royal residence, and reigned securely over the children of Chittim and over Edom. Any questions at all whatsoever?
Okay, I have a question, just out of curiosity. What conclusion did we come to about the color of...
I'm getting ready to go there. I'm on my way there right now.
I'm real interested in that.
I'm on my way there right now. Any questions about... any questions about the subject?
I'm actually looking up what does the stone represent, but that may be a little off topic, but it's a stone that takes out the statue.
It represents Yah.
Okay.
It represents the Most High.
Yeah, I'm trying to make that concrete. So I'm wondering, is that going to be supernatural? If will it be working through people? This I don't know, but okay. I had just pulled up something that was talking about the chief cornerstone that the builders rejected. So, yeah. I'm watching. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay, let me see what I found. Let me see what I found here, Sister Denaya. For you. Just give me a second. Woo! Thank you, Yah. I'm telling you, this is... Because you remember, Africa had rule now over all that area. But we got to understand who they are. We got to understand who they are. We really do. All of them. It's interesting to be able to see. Let me pull it up. Let me see where we are. We're going to deal with, let's go with this one here. I'm going to put this in there, and so that I can put this on there. So this is where, I'm going to put this on a slide so we'll all be able to see it, because I don't want to open it up. I'm just going to open up a new slide, and I'm going to put this on there. But yes, serious stuff. I mean, this is really some serious stuff. When you start to understand this thing, you start to understand that they're all working together. Everyone is working together for the same goal. And if people have a hard time dealing with that, they like, wait a minute, hold on now. Hold on. I don't understand what you're saying. Hold on a minute. And it's like, well, you know, you got to understand how this works.
And a lot of this is starting to make a lot more sense to me now, because even during our slavery, we know the Gentiles was going to be ahead of us, over us. So in the background, Esau was in the background probably funding it.
He is funding it. Yeah, absolutely. Always have.
Mm-hmm.
Always have. Always have been. because he's Rome. Always have been. Always have been. That's exactly what we're dealing with today. Always have been. Absolutely. Exactly. And that is exactly where that's where the problem comes in at, because they refuse to accept the fact that this is how the storyline went, and there's nothing you can do about it. Not a doggone thing. You got to understand how the puzzles come together. And like I said, I was going to go into a whole lot of history, some unnecessary history. And the most I stopped all that this morning, like, please. All you got to do is show that there's only 3 sons, and each one of them sons going to have a chance to rule the earth. And this explains how this is happening in this day and time. Real talk. Absolutely.
It also explains more of why the Most High hate Esau so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm actually looking at a picture of the Pope praying to the Black Madonna, so it's like there's an implicit acknowledgement or explicit acknowledgement. So it's all very interesting. It says 2 popes praying to the Black Madonna, both of them at the same time.
Esau is Rome, and when you understand that, you like, whoa, hold on a minute. Esau is Rome. It is Rome, Rome, Rome. I'm coming, you guys. Just hold on. I got to put this together because I'm going to show you something. And when you understand how this all flow together, it's serious to understand how this flows together. Because you got to remember one thing, that the Gentile didn't take over until Rome stepped into place. Rome represents the Gentile kingdom. Rome was Chittim, and Chittim was a descendant of Japhet.
I watched his video. I'm still looking at the ones on Edom and Rome. And one of the things, and you may be getting to mention this too, but Esau's descendants became kings of Chittim.
They sure did. They sure did.
And that also explains their elevated position within.
Absolutely. You better believe it. Just like they are today. Just like they are today. Just like they are today. All of this, you got to put it all in perspective. And now it's like a puzzle piece that has to come together. And like I said, some people go into history and they pull up Eliphaz, and they go in and they pull up Zepho and all that kind of stuff, and that's how they became kings over it. But if you just stay to the simple deduction that there's only 3 sons, and those 3 sons are the only ones that will have an opportunity to populate and control and rule the earth, you got to fall in one of them categories. And that's the category that he took over. All right, here we go. Let me go into the Greeks. Now, I asked the question before about the Greeks. I asked the question before about the Greeks. Let me pull up my slideshow. And the question is, were the Greeks during that time black or white? That's what I asked. Let me know if you can see the screen. Can you see the screen? Hello?
It's on pause.
It's on pause? Okay. Let me know. Share. Okay, resume screen sharing. Can you see it now?
Yes.
All right, let me read this to you. The Black Greeks in 1987 and 1991, when Martin Bernal published his book, Black Athena, it was a controversy and a scandal. Not because of its scientific scope, but because it questioned the foundation of racist and supremacist fallacies that identify ancient Greece at their origin. Let's keep going. Make sure I got this one. Yes, the pharaonic civilization was essentially black African from its roots to its collapsing in 347 BC. All pharaonic dynasties in Egypt were black Africans with the exception of the Hyksos rulers before the 18th dynasty. And the Ptolemaic dynasty after the collapsing of the pharaonic Egypt in 342 BC, Alexander the Great and his great Ptolemy were Macedonians from Greece when they founded the Ptolemaic dynasty that lasted until the death of Cleopatra. Some have been using genetic analysis of few mummies to conclude that ancient Egyptians weren't Africans because those mummies have Middle Eastern genes. What people should understand is the fact that ancient Egyptians, were in trade relations with their Mediterranean neighbors even before the invasion of the Hyksos, which lasted around 1 century. Before, during, and after the Hyksos invasion, ancient Egyptians married with their neighbors. During the 18th dynasty rule, the ancient Egyptian map was more vast than what is known nowadays and included current territories from Sudan to Turkey, Greece, and even large parts of North Africa. So my question is, what color was the original Greeks?
Black African?
They was black. They was black.
Oh. Well, let me ask you this. Were they black during the time of the Maccabees?
No, because by the time they had taken over, by the time that happened, Alexander the Great and them had came in, and they were from Macedonia, and all of that took place, and they came in. No, they were not.
Okay.
No, they were not.
So they were whitewashed?
Pretty much, yes. Just like today. I mean, look at the Egyptians today. They are not the original Egyptians. These people claiming to be the Egyptians. And they have access to everything, the mummies and everything. These people are claiming to be the Egyptians.
Yeah.
And quiet as it's kept, they're trying to whitewash Israel, but they can't.
Nope.
Okay.
You know what I think preserved us?
What's that?
I think during slavery and segregation periods, we weren't allowed to mix with them and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that way I think we were able to not let them whitewash us all the way out. Remember, they're the ones that set up the rule for segregation and all that.
Yeah.
Even after we came up out of slavery.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. This is even before we go into Eliphaz and Zepho and all of that other stuff and who their wives was and the Amaleks and all that, the Amalekites and all. This is even before we get into all of that.
Right. Now, the Amalekites, who were they?
Well, that's a whole nother lesson. I'll have to get into that next week, but
right.
I don't want to...
Are they part of Esau?
Huh?
Are they Esau too?
Well, yeah.
Amalek is the grandson of Esau, isn't he?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, they're mixed up in it.
Amalek, yep. All of that.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. So we have to understand that there's only 3 sons that is going to have an opportunity to rule the earth through that statue that was given in Daniel chapter 2. And we got Ham was first, then came Japheth, and Shem is going to be next. And when Shem gets ready to rule the earth, it is going to be ruled through who?
Yeah.
And the children of
Israel.
Children of Israel. We going to represent Shem to rule the earth. That's why when everybody come out, oh, the world coming to an end. No, it's not. Because Shem is going to have an opportunity to rule while the planes is flying in the sky and the cars is driving on the ground and all the economies is going up and everything is happening and all this. We ain't going to rule in a destitute place. It's going to be going on just like it's going on now, and everything is going to switch around to the children of Israel ruling the earth.
And the scripture says we will forever and ever and forever.
Yeah, absolutely. See, and the problem is this: when the Gentile tells the story, they tell the story from the perspective that when it's over for them, the whole earth is coming to an end. Not so. Not so.
And they're going to be raptured. They're going to be raptured, and it's all going to be over.
Absolutely. There's still going to be kings and queens, and they're going to be representing their kingdoms, and they're going to have to come under the subjective government of Yah. Yes, ma'am, and yes, sir. And that's why they get angry. They done got angry at the group. They was a Hebrew Israelite group out there used to say, we got next. They shut them all down in the beginning. It's still, 2nd Ezra says what, Brother Uriah?
2nd Ezra, chapter 6, verse 9.
What does it say?
Oh, sorry about that. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows.
We next. And that's nothing, ain't nothing changing. We're going to still have the earth. We're going into Jerusalem, and we're going to be in Jerusalem as his people, and we're going to live in our own land, and he's going to rule this government the way this earth the way he wanted to in the beginning, and the children of Israel are going to rule. Ain't nobody going nowhere. Ain't nobody going nowhere. Each one of Noah's sons is going to get a chance to rule the earth before this thing is over. Before this earth is destroyed and Yah bring the city down from heaven and all that stuff, each one of Noah's sons is going to get a chance to rule the earth. And nobody in Shem has ruled the earth. He allowed us to have a government. And he allowed us to have a land, and we had a kingdom, but we weren't a world-ruling government. And Shem is going to be the last one to rule. The last one of Noah's sons. Makes a whole lot of sense now, don't it?
Yep.
I was like...
You know what? One of the things that also makes sense is why we were told not to read the Apocrypha, because the Apocrypha tells us what our ancestors were like, the powers that they had, the skills that they had, the favor that they had with the Almighty. And we wonder, how is that change going to come? How is that switch going to come? Well, I can see it easily coming about when I look at what it was that they were doing in their time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're yelling and stuff is falling down. They're doing all kinds of stuff. They're jumping. It seems like 2 stories. It's unbelievable, the stuff that they were doing.
Yeah.
They have power that was just almost inconceivable.
Yeah. And this is how Yah wrote the story. He wrote the story just like this. He wrote it just like this for it to happen just like this. And it became one kingdom with Rome, and Rome is ruling today. Rome is ruling religiously, politically, economically, and all of the rest of it above. It's Rome. It's Rome.
Do you think it could be that Esau, since he knows that it's not going to be his line that's ruling, he's trying to rule, so he's ruling through Rome right now. In Jasher, it says that Esau actually killed Nimrod. So Nimrod was the world ruler at that time, and Esau is said to have killed him, cut off his head.
Possibly. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it at all, sis, not one bit. I don't doubt any of it. All of it is possible. You know, and as much as Hannibal tried to hold on, he couldn't hold on because that wasn't the story of Yah, and no matter how great he was and what he achieved, it had to go in the order of the statue that was given to Nebuchadnezzar. Had to go in that statue. It had to be the way the Most High said it was going to be, and nobody was going to change it. Nobody.
Right. Yeah, I think it's Jasher 27:4 is where it's stated that Esau killed Nimrod.
Possibly. Yes, ma'am. Hold on. Let me show you the screen. Can you see the screen? You see the statue?
Mm-hmm.
You got the Babylonian Empire first. You had the Medes and the Persians. You had the Grecian Empire. And then you had the Holy Roman Empire. I mean, the Roman Empire, which was the thighs and the legs, but when you get down to the feet, it says that it is mixed with mire, with clay and flesh. Or clay and iron and clay don't mix. This is the Holy Roman Empire, which is ruling today. You look at the church today, Church of God in Christ, the Holiness Church, the Apostolic Church, all of them are looking like the Catholic Church. They are. Because that's what they came out of. And that is how the Most High wants it to go. Nobody is going to change it. Nobody. Any questions at all whatsoever? Anybody have any questions?
Monkey.
Anybody have any questions at all whatsoever?
Do you have any idea how soon that stone is going to come and hit those feet?
I have no idea, sis. I don't know when they're going. I can't answer that. But I can say that we've got to go back to where we're going and be put out of the way because the Gentile story has to continue until the time of the Gentile be fulfilled. There is a time limit that they have. Just like Ham had a time limit, the Gentiles going to have a time limit, and then we going to have a time limit. I don't know when that's going to happen. I can't say. Really, all I'm concerned with is going home. Will I be alive to see that? I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know if he's going to allow me to see it or my children's children will. I don't know. I can't tell you. I would like to be alive to see us go home. I would like to be alive to see that. That I would like to be alive to be a part of. And my feet touch Zion and touch the land of Israel and be able to live on the land for the rest of the days I have left. I would like to see that. But all the rest of the stuff, I don't know. I wish. I want to. Hold on, let me unmute the mics. I got to unmute people's mics and stuff now so that we can kind of have an open conversation. But I would like to, but I don't know. Don't know. You know, I just want to make sure that me and my children. Thank you. I wanted to make sure that me and my children get a chance to go, and me and my children get a chance to see, and we are among that group that get a chance to leave and be able to testify of the goodness of Yah and be getting out of here. You know? And it's real simple. It's just puzzle pieces. You just have to put the puzzle pieces together. Puzzle pieces. You have to put the puzzle pieces together and understand how they fit. You know, they really do want, oh, the world is about, they still putting that stuff on YouTube. I had a dream and God told me the world was coming to an end. I just click off of it like, yeah, okay. We ain't got but this much time left. Yeah, okay. I seen the dream, the rapture was coming. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. And you be like, yeah, okay, and whatever you say. But really, if you knew the story, you wouldn't even say no stuff like that because that's not true.
Yep, that's true.
And they still do it. They still doing it to this day. They're instilling fear. And it's like Esau has a time to finish, and the Gentiles' time has to be fulfilled. And then after that, Jacob steps in. The children of Israel step up. And because of the hatred that they have toward us, they don't want that to ever come out. They don't want that to ever be a thought. They don't, and it's typical because nobody wants their empire to end. Because even after the Most High told Nebuchadnezzar, this is it after you, it's going to be the Medes and the Persians, he refused to accept that. Remember he made the gold statue and wanted everybody to bow down to him? And the 3 Hebrew boys refused to do it and they threw him in the fire? Everybody thinks that they can alter the way that Yah wrote the story and can't nobody change it. Nobody can change it. Was this good or what? I mean, real talk, when I said that, I said, oh, this is real simple. Don't make it complicated. Just tell it from the perspective of the 3 sons, because each one of Noah's sons will have a chance to rule the earth. There's no racism in that. That's fairness. He just chose the children of Israel to be the group that will rule on his behalf because he chose to know us above all the other nations of the earth. He chose us out of all the earth. My son sent me a clip the other day about, oh, they're warring and oh, they fighting over there. I said, if nothing else, they're clearing off the land so that we can go over there. Ezekiel chapter 39. They're clearing off the land. I'm sorry, Ezekiel 38. Ezekiel 30, they clearing the land off so we can go home. We got to go back to the land that's brought back by the sword. That's what the scripture says. Let me read it. We're going to end it out. We're going to end the recording after this. And the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, this is Ezekiel 38, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against him, and say, thus saith the Most High Elohim, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the prince of Meshech and Tubal, And I will turn thee back and put hooks in thy jaws. And I will bring thee forth in all thy army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with buckler and shields, all of them handling swords. Persia, these are the ones that's going to guard us. Ethiopia, Libya with them, with all of them with shields and helmets. Gomer and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the north quarters and all his bands, and many people with thee. Be thou prepared. Listen what he say. And prepare thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, to be a guard unto them. After many days thou shalt be visited in the latter years. Thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land, thou and all thy bands, and many people with thee. Thus saith the Most High Elohim, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. He said, while you guarding them and they dwelling safe, something's going to come to your mind, and you're going to think an evil thought. And thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, and I will go up to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls, and having neither bars nor gates, to take a spoil and to take a prey, and to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nation, which have gotten cattle and goods, that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba and Dedan, the merchants of Tarshish, with all the young lions thereof, shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey, to carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil? Are you really getting ready to go up against them people after he done brought them people out of captivity? Do you really think you're getting ready to take all their stuff? Therefore, Son of Man, prophesy and say unto Gog, thus saith the Most High Elohim, in that day, now he can really tell you who dwelling safe, when my people Israel dwelleth safely, shalt thou not know it? And thou shalt come from thy place out of the north ports, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses, a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people Israel as a cloud to cover the land. And it shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before their eyes. Thus saith the Most High, art thou he of whom I have spoken in old times by my servants the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years, that I would bring thee against them? And it shall come to pass at the same time, when Gog shall come up against the land of Israel, thus saith the Most High Elohim, that my fury shall come up in my face. He said, for in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel. He said, when you come up on them people, now I'm getting ready to get in it. This ain't no joke. This stuff is getting ready to happen for real. He goes on to talk about the fishes of the sea. He said, and I will call for a sword against him throughout all my mountains, saith the Most High. Every man's sword shall be against his brother. And I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood, and I will rain upon him and upon his bands, and upon the many people that are with him, an overflowing rain, and great hailstone, and fire and brimstone. Thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am the Most High.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So the Italians are part of Rome, correct?
Say that again, sis. I'm sorry, I didn't understand. You said one more time.
the Italians, they are part of Rome.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I never look, because when you say Rome, nobody looks at Rome as Rome anymore, especially since they divided the Vatican.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
The Italians are.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Remember, that's what Hannibal had control over. He had control over North Africa, southern Spain, and a part of Italy.
And the Ethiopians, they are not part of, who are they? Are they black or are they white, Ethiopians?
They're the Hamites. They're black.
So I wonder why they say that they want to accept them because they're Jews. I'm like, no, they're not Jews. They're not Israelite. But they're trying to pass them off as Israel.
Yeah, they trying. They trying to. But nobody's going to be able to replace us. Nobody will replace us ever. And it's good to have you back, sis. I haven't heard your voice in a long time. Praise to the Most High Yah.
I was sick before, but I'm feeling so much better, and I think it's part of the Most High healing my body, so I'm really happy to be back. He's given me some things that even the doctors are amazed that I'm, still, my health has gone back to good. It's real good. Yeah. So I wanted to say also that they're trying to pass the Ethiopians off as Israelites, but there's something horrible going on with the Ethiopians right now. They went to the Middle East, and the Middle Eastern people are putting them in prison and hanging them and killing them. I mean, they are literally slaughtering these people. And I said, I got to go back on today because I have to ask you, what were they, the Israelites, or were they some other group? And now I understand that must be the hand of the Most High against them.
Mm-hmm. Let me end the recording right now. I want to thank everybody for joining our recorded class. Don't forget to join us tomorrow on Sunday, the first day of the week, for our Blog Talk Radio show at 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The number is 718-664-9551. If you'd like to reach us by email, our email address is theyehudahproject@gmail.com, and Yehudah spelled YEHUDAH. We also have a YouTube channel. It's just Yehudah Project. If you type in Yehudah, YEHUDAH, and Project, PROJECT, and click find, you'll see all of our YouTube clips that we put up there. We're definitely going to put this lesson up there today. So I thank you all for joining us. This is not the end of our class. It's just the end of our recording, and I'm going to stop the recording now. Thank you.